Please rise. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem Negara Group, followed by IIM anthem, Lididoi.
Light of the future, share the wisdom to the spirit of Islam. Revelation and reason, shadows shall prevail. Merging faith and knowledge, we, the Khalifa, will fulfill.
Thank you. Please be seated. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berhormat Senator Dr. Zulkifli Hasan, Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs, Prime Minister's Department. Yang berbahagia Profesor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Osman Bakar, Rector International Islamic University Malaysia. Profesor Dr. Ramzil Rosman, Dean IIM Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, IIBF. Mr. Muhammad Asri Omar, CEO AIA Public Takaful Berhad, Mr. Ahmad Syariman Muhammad Sharif, CEO CIMB Islamic Bank Berhad, Madam Dafina Ahmad Hilmi, CEO Hong Leong Islamic Bank Berhad, Dr. Syarah Syahirah Muhammad Yusuf, Program Director iSFIS 2025, honorable guests, co-organizers and sponsors, distinguished speakers and panelists, participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Welcome to the first IIBF Islamic Social Finance Summit iSFIS 2025, theme 20 years of impact, reshaping the dynamic of Islamic social finance. This summit marks a critical strategic shift from knowing to doing in Islamic social finance. Building on prior awareness, it focuses on operationalizing zakat, wakaf, and sadaqah to directly address poverty, inequality, and financial exclusion. The urgent gathering unites stakeholders, financial institutions, regulators, NGOs, fintech, and policymakers to forge collaborative models that translate Sharia objectives into tangible impact. Coinciding with the IIBF 20 years anniversary, it celebrates a legacy of thought leadership while aiming to reunite the community and chart an ambitious future direction for Islamic social finance as a responsive mechanism for global good. First and foremost, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Yang Berhormat Senator Dr. Zulkifli Hasan, Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs, Prime Minister's Department, for his presence this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, to give barakah of our launching ceremony, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Ashraf Sharafuddin to recite the dawn.
Reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wal 'aqibatu lil muttaqin. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. لا إله إلا الله العظيم الحليم، لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم، لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض ورب العرش الكريم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين، اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين، اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل هذا جمعنا جمعا مرحوما، واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما، ولا تجعل فينا ولا منا أحدا شقيا ولا محروما يا أرحم الراحمين. Oh Allah, bless this program, its organizers, speakers, and participants. Make our deliberations a means to strengthen justice, trust, and compassion within Islamic social finance. Oh Allah, guide us to use the technology and innovation in ways that uphold your guidance, protect human dignity, and achieve the higher objectives of Sharia. Oh Allah, protect us from arrogance and knowledge, and grant us humility, integrity, and accountability. Oh Allah, let the outcomes of this program bring real benefit to the Ummah, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, ease hardship for the vulnerable. Oh Allah, contribute to the sustainable and ethical development. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصل اللهم على خير خلق محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Amin ya rabbal alamin. Jazakallahu khairan katsiran. Associate Professor Dr. Ashraf. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to begin our afternoon session, we are honored to have with us Honorable Professor Emeritus Dr. Osman Bakar, Rector of IIUM, who will deliver the opening speech. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon. Yang berhormat Senator Dr. Zulkifli Hasan, Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs, Prime Minister's Department, Professor Dr. Ramzi Rosman, Dean at the Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, honorable guests, co-organizers and sponsors, distinguished speakers and panelists, participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and a heart full of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I welcome you to this historic gathering, the first Islamic Social Finance Summit 2025, as we also celebrate the 20th anniversary of our esteemed IIN Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance. We are here celebrating a theme, 20 years of impact, reshaping the dynamic of Islamic social finance. Let us pause for a moment. As students of Tawhid epistemology, and ask what does it really mean to reshape the dynamics. I would say this represents nothing less than an epistemic shift, a fundamental orientation from merely knowing the principles to embracing the sacred act of doing. It is a journey from understanding the what and why to mastering the profound how of implementation. In short, shift from theory to practice, or to put it another way, in a way familiar to IIN, a shift towards the realization of Ummati excellence. 20 years ago, we planted a seed of knowledge at IIN, a vision to create an educational institution of thought leadership that would serve the Ummah and shape the conscience of Islamic finance industry. Today, we witness the early harvest of that vision. IIS consistent recognition as a global leader in Islamic finance education. The various accolades earned by its staff, students, and alumni. The groundbreaking research and strategic partnerships with global institutions. And innovative programs that have built capacity for our Ummah. Congratulations to IIN. We celebrate not just achievements, but the generation of professionals and thinkers IIN has nurtured scholarly contributions that have shaped policy and enduring impact on Islamic finance trajectory. As rector and on behalf of IIN's leadership, I affirm our ongoing commitment to IIN as a center of excellence in ethical and practical development. We pledge to strengthen IIN's role in shaping the future of Islamic finance globally. Yet, our institutional support represents only one part of this ecosystem. IIN truly belongs to all of you, the alumni, donors, partners, regulators, students, communities, and the wider Ummah. This gathering serves as a call to each of you to join in this sacred trust. The urgency of this collective mission becomes clear when we consider the context of our times. We convene during a period of unprecedented global challenges, crisis of inequality, environmental degradation, humanitarian need, and climate risk. These are not distant political problems, but urgent calls for justice, compassion, and action that demand our response. This summit represents our collective attempt to bridge that gap between theory and practice, between knowing and doing, by exploring how to operationalize Islamic finance instruments to address pressing challenges of poverty, inequality, and financial exclusion. In this endeavor, we must ground our work in the fundamental principles that define our tradition. When we speak of social finance, we are speaking of directing financial instruments toward higher purpose. From the perspective of Islam, certainly from the academic point of view, scholarly point of view, that high purpose is also ummatic excellence, where social finance constitutes a very important component of that ummatic excellence, the best of the ummah. We acknowledge that finance is never value neutral. When we invoke maqasid al-sharia, justice, well-being, and balance, we commit to values that transcend mere profit. And when we strive for ihsan, excellence in need and intention, we dedicate ourselves to building an Islamic finance that lifts the ummah with dignity and mercy. This is precisely why we have gathered some of the brightest minds for this summit: practitioners, scholars, regulators, and innovators who will explore transformative topics ranging from financial technology to faith-based responses to global humanitarian crisis. Each discussion, each shared insight represents a step forward, a step toward actualizing our shared vision. Let me take this moment to express my sincere appreciation to our dedicated organizing committee, our esteemed partners, and particularly to our keynote speakers and panelists who have graciously agreed to share their vision with us. To our distinguished guests from around the world, your presence here today testifies the importance of this dialogue and our shared commitment to advancing Islamic social finance. Of course, thank you very much to our guest of all guests, Senator Dr. Zulkifli, for taking the time of this very precious Saturday afternoon to be with us. I'm sure his presence means a lot to us, a source of encouragement. Of course, he has always been part of us. Through this summit, we participate in a collective effort to reshape the future of Islamic finance, to make it more impactful, more inclusive, and more transformative for those who need the most. May our deliberation be fruitful, our connections meaningful, and our resolutions impactful. With that, I congratulate once again IIMBF on its 20th anniversary, and I wish Islamic Social Finance Summit 2025 a great success. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Honorable Professor Emeritus Dr. Osman Bakar, Rector of IIMBF. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now privileged to welcome Yang Berhormat Senator Dr. Zulkifli Hasan, Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs, Prime Minister's Department, for the special address and officiating ceremony. Please welcome.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ومن شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا تحية طيبة وبركة من عند الله أما بعد. Thank you very much to Ustaz Johari as Master of Ceremony. Yang berbahagia Professor Emeritus Dr. Osman Bakar, Rector of the National Islamic University Malaysia, Professor Dr. Ramzi Osman, congratulations. The new Dean of IMBF, honorable guests, co-organizers, sponsors, distinguished speakers and panelists, participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. It is a great privilege to join you at this inaugural, the first Islamic Social Finance Summit 2025, held in conjunction with the 20th anniversary of the IMF Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance. Please give a lot of applause. Let me first extend heartiest congratulations to IBF and IIM on reaching this 20-year milestone of academic leadership and impact. The very theme of this summit, 20 years of impact, reshaping the dynamic of Islamic social finance, is a testament to IIBF's journey and its forward-looking vision for nation building and promoting formative excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, allow me to begin my speech by highlighting one of the most worrying global issues that are relevant to our summit, namely the rise of forcibly displaced people or refugees worldwide. I specifically include and discuss this matter, chapter on refugees in Islamic social finance in my recent book, The Future of Islamic Finance. UNHCR estimates that 122.6 million people remain forcibly displaced worldwide due to war, persecutions, violence, and human rights violations. This represents an increase of 5%, 5.3 million people. Unfortunately, more than 50%, 61.3 million of the world's refugees come from Muslim majority countries. Previously, the United States and the European countries are the primary and the top funders of the UNHCR for refugees. But now, the US and European nations have significantly cut fundings for the UNHCR, leading to massive shortfalls, program suspensions, and staff reductions, creating a dire crisis for millions of displaced people globally as aid for essential needs. Considering that the majority of the world refugees come from Muslim majority countries, we cannot rely anymore from the United States or European nations. It's time for us Muslim nations to think, to plan, and to do the necessary to take care and provide assistance, particularly to our Muslim brothers and sisters all over the world. The global annual budget for refugees rose from just 300,000 USD per year in 1950s, but now to more than 7.7 billion annually. Due to the limited funds and resources, we can no longer rely on the US, EU, even the non-governmental agencies and organizations to help our brothers. In this regard, I personally think and confident that Islamic social finance can play an important role to offer and provide solutions and relief to support the needs, including the forcibly displaced people and refugees. This is not a rhetoric or just a theory. I give an example. UNHCR and the ISDB have initiated the activation of the Global Islamic Fund for Refugees. And this GIFR is an innovative Islamic social financing tool comprising Waqaf and a non-Waqaf fund with a target of USD 500 million fund to assist the refugees. So this is an example of how refugees' access to Islamic social finance services may enable their socio-economic inclusions to ensure a timely response to humanitarian crises and to assist them a better plan for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear brothers and sisters, 2 decades ago, IBF was officially established in 2005 with a clear purpose to serve as a center of excellence in education and research in Islamic banking and finance. Over the years, the IIBF has steadfastly pursued the mission, producing competent graduates and scholars well-versed in Sharia, as well as modern disciplines like economics, finance, accounting, law, management, and technology. And today, we celebrate its 20 years of impact. What does this impact look like? It is evident in the footprints of IIBF alumni who are contributing to the developments of Islamic finance industry globally. It is evident in the Institute's research output and thought leadership, which have helped shape policies and innovative practices in Islamic finance, particularly in the realms of Islamic social finance. Notably, IIBF's dedication and achievement have earned prestigious recognitions. At Islamic Finance News Awards, IIM was named the best educational institutions offering Islamic finance courses, and IIBF was honored as the best Islamic finance research firm for consecutive years. Over the past 20 years, Alhamdulillah, still young, IIBF has cultivated partnerships with industry and government and emphasized innovations in areas like Islamic social finance. For example, IIM, through the leadership of IIBF, was selected by Bank Islam to host the 6th ITECA Entrepreneur Up at IIM and Gombak, programs that blends Islamic finance with social funds to uplift micro entrepreneurs. And through this hub, aspiring business owners, including women and youth, receive trainings, mentorings, and even startup financings, combining Islamic banking resources with zakat and waqaf contributions to build resilient livelihoods. Brothers and sisters, as we reflect on the past, we must also cast our eyes on the future. The summit's theme, Reshaping the Dynamic of Islamic Social Finance, invites us to consider how far Islamic social finance has come and how we can unleash its full potential. Islamic social finance deploys financial instruments and institutions geared towards social welfare and inclusions, notably instruments such as waqaf, zakat, sadaqah, qard al-hasan, and microfinance aligned with Sharia principles. These tools are rooted in the Islamic traditions of compassion, equity, and shared prosperity. Today, in the modern context, we are witnessing a much-needed revival and innovation in Islamic social finance globally. The world faces persistent challenges: poverty, inequality, humanitarian crisis, and climate finance gaps, name it, to which Islamic social finance offers timely solutions grounded in ethical values. Estimated by the World Bank and the ISDB, the potential annual zakat pool worldwide is enormous. estimated between US $200 billion to $1 trillion. A philanthropic resources too large to ignore. If effectively harnessed, these funds could significantly bridge the funding gap for the SDGs, climate actions, and so on and so forth, which currently face a multi-trillion-dollar shortfall. And around the Muslim world, we see many such innovations, from crowdfunding platform for Wakaf projects, including Wakaf Sukuk tokenizations, to micro-takaful schemes for low-income families, and even socially responsible sukuk. As Malaysia continues to strengthen its Islamic finance leadership, it consistently emphasizes on the need to shift from traditionally halal or compliance way of thinking to tayyib or wholesome way of thinking, emphasizing its impact and value-based outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, allow me to highlight how institutions like IIBF are central to advancing Islamic social finance in Malaysia and globally. Education and research form the intellectual infrastructure that any industry, including Islamic finance, needs in order to grow and innovate. Over 20 years, IIBF has not only trained professionals for the Islamic banking sectors, but also carved a niche in Islamic social finance scholarships. The IIBF and the Institute's faculty and researchers have delved into topics ranging from integrating wakaf into sukuk, distribution of zakat to non-Muslims, to the developments of care economics, and by generating data, evidence, and theoretical frameworks, IIBF may help government and policymakers make informed decisions grounded from a quality research. Moreover, IIBF's commitment to innovation is seen in initiatives like the Islamic Social Finance Summit today, which brings together scholars, practitioners, students to brainstorm the future of the Islamic social finance. The Institute's focus on community engagement through programs like iTakat hubs, financial literacy workshops, and many more also shows an understanding that academic institutions must reach beyond their gates and directly touch society. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I encourage IIBF to continue on this path. Perhaps establishing dedicated centers or labs for Islamic social finance and social entrepreneurships, developing new academic programs or even certifications in areas like zakat management, wakaf governance, publishing more groundbreaking research on Islamic finance that can guide policy. The government, for its part, looks forward to deepening collaborations with IIM, IIBF, and other institutions to scale up Islamic social finance. I have strong faith, I have strong belief that academia, industry, and government must form a synergy to truly reshape the dynamics of Islamic social finance, and none of us can do it alone. Dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, Islamic social finance is ultimately about values and impact. It is finance with a soul and purpose. Our duty as professionals, academics, policymakers, and community members, including politicians, is to ensure that these timeless values of solidarity, justice, and compassion are channeled through effective actions in our times. The Quran reminds us of ideal of a just economic order in which wealth should not circulate solely among the rich. Surah Al-Hajj, verse 7. And this divine injunction speaks to the very heart of Islamic social finance, where it served as a tool to circulate blessings and opportunities to all layers of society, especially the less privileged. As Gandhi said, the world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end my remarks, my speech, I want to reiterate that the government stands firmly behind the growth of Islamic social finance. We consider it as a strategic pillar in our mission to build a more inclusive, resilient, and spiritually grounded economy. We are proud of institutions like IMF that have been our nation's partners on this journey for more than 20 years, and we look forward to the next 20 years of even a greater impact. Inshallah, we'll make dua for IMF and IMF. As we celebrate the remarkable achievement of IMF, let us also use this moment to recommit ourselves to the greater cause. Each of us here has a role to play. Professionals, bankers, academia, to play in reshaping the dynamic of Islamic social finance. Be it through policy, innovations, advocacy, or daily practice of charity and ethical finance. I hope this summit will spark new ideas, strengthen networks, and inspire actionable plans. This is more important. Actionable plans. May we all live here with a renewed sense of purpose and collaborations. As the Prophet said, the best of people are those who are most beneficial to others. Let us strive to be those people, using the tools of Islamic finance to benefit others and seek the pleasure of our Creator. Khairun nas anfa'uhum linnas. On that note, with the recitations of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, I officially launch and welcome you to the Islamic Social Finance 2025. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Yang Berhormat Senator. I request Dr. Zul to remain standing for our next agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, to proceed for our main agenda, I invite Honorable Dr. Rector of IAM together with Professor Dr. Ramzi and Dr. Shara Shahira to accompany Yang Berhormat Senator on stage. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillah, in the name of Allah, Yang Berhormat Senator will now perform the gimmick for today's event.
Islamic social finance, the heartbeat of an inclusive future. Wealth must be kept. Wealth must be transparent. Wealth must be protected. Wealth must be stable. Wealth must be just. For 2 decades, IIM has shaped thinkers, leaders, and innovators, building an institution that continues to inspire excellence in Islamic finance. The new chapter begins. The rise of Islamic social finance, innovation, transparency, impact. Digital zakat semata impact, digital wakaf for transparency regime, digital recovery for community resilience. You should put more emphasis on reasonable goal.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the limit among us, we witness the official launching of iSFIS 2025. As our gratitude and appreciation, I would like now to invite Professor Emeritus Dr. Osman Bakar, Rector of IUM, to present a memento to Yang Berhormat Senator Dr. Zulkifli Hasan. Thank you very much. Thank you, our VIPs. Okay, you may now return to the seat. Thank you very much. Gambar juga. Okay, thank you. Terima kasih. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone's information, the Bimbing Project is a corporate social responsibility initiated by IIBF. A group of children from the P40 group in the Gombak area was selected to participate in this program, where they received special tutoring in English and mathematics, with full sponsorship from Zurich Takaful, achieved through the efforts of Yang Berhormat Senator Dr. Zulkifli Hasan during his tenure as Deputy Rector at IIM. These children are guided systematically from children who once lacked exposure in English language skills. Today, they join us in this important event to showcase their abilities in choral speaking under the guidance of teacher Izzah Azura Hamza, teacher Nur Anika Munirah Zakari, teacher Zafira Amalina Zainal Anwar, Syed Abu Tahir Mutalib, Muhammad Amir Hakim Ibrahim, and Camelia Impiana Azim. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now welcomes anak-anak bimbing IIBF to the stage.
Selesai sudah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good day to
Okay, fine. In the town named Goba, a group of underprivileged students who once did not dare to dream were offered to attend extra classes on weekends for free. Yes, absolutely free. And those students are us. We are then called Anak-anak Bimbing. Before Project Bimbing, we were nothing like this. We were not confident. We didn't score in exam. We couldn't even speak a word in English. And with Project Bimbing, every weekend, we learn something new. We learn math. We learn English. We even learn life skills. Teachers taught us to use Canva. Teachers taught us to do presentation. Teachers taught us to apply these skills in real life. I can now write in English. I can now convert management. We can now perform in front of all of you. Yes, with Project Bimbing, we now dare to dream. I want to be a doctor. I want to own a business. I want to marry a millionaire. I want to become a teacher. Oh. We want to be successful so that we can give back to our family and the Ummah. It is true that the key to change is education, and with education alone, we can change our future. We rise with wings because the village has raised us right. Thank you, Mama, Ayah, and our family for believing in us. Thank you, teachers, for never giving up on us. Thank you, IIIBF, and our sponsors for keeping these dreams alive. Today, we promise you this. We will study harder to build a better life. We will not waste the chance given. We will make everyone proud.
Anak-anak bimbing,
Fly high! Thank you.
MashaAllah, what a wonderful performance. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, to express our pride and appreciation to anak-anak bimbing IIPF, I welcome Yang Berhormat Senator, accompanied by Prof. Romzi and Dr. Shara, to present certificates to our beloved sons and daughters. Please welcome. Okay. Okay, first, please welcome. Maafkan Pakcik kalau Pakcik salah sebut nama. Nama-nama ni agak bukan B40. Shinta Ramadhani binti Azman. Seterusnya, Nur Khalisha Umaira binti Saiful Baharin. Next, please welcome Nur Fitri Darwisha binti Khairul Abidin. Bersedia Nur Fitri Darwina binti Khairul Abidin. Muhammad Aqil Zahin bin Nahli. Please welcome Muhammad Faisal Adli bin Muhammad Faiz. Seterusnya Muhammad Faris Hakimi bin Muhammad Fathri. Bersedia ke depan Nur Damia Arisha binti Saiful Baharin. Next, Putri Dayana Batrisha binti Ahmad Darwish. Qasih Farisha Dania binti Syarul Yusri. Seterusnya Nur Faizah Muhammad Naqib. Next, please welcome Muhammad Farid Hakimi bin Abdul Hakim. Siapa dari JPN harap ambil makluman tambah petak. Muhammad Fahrin Aishi Akashah bin Abdullah. Next, please welcome Nur Dahlia Patricia binti Muhammad Sawal. Please welcome Yulis Tiara binti Nifta. Next, please welcome Muzayyana binti Azman. Seterusnya Damia Erlisha binti Muhammad Sawal. Abang tinggi lampai Muhammad Hafiz Hakimi bin Muhammad Rizal. Faizri Dani bin Syarul Yusri. Last but not least, please welcome Muhammad Habib Hakim bin Muhammad Rizal. Congratulations dan terima kasih adik-adik semua. Thank you, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on, we now proceed to a plenary session titled Driving Shared Prosperity, the Role of Islamic Social Finance in Strengthening Islamic Banks. Our speaker is Dr. Muhammad Ramadan Fitri Ilyas, Deputy CEO of Maybank Islamic Berhad. Dr. Ramadan, please welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, the Brahman Senator, I have ready for our event. Okay, once again, can we give a big round of applause to our Brahman Senator? Thank you very much for your presence today. Dr. Muhammad Ramadan, your mic is yours. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and very good day to all. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Romzi Osman, the Dean of IIUM Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, IIBF, honorable guests, co-organizers, sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we gather at a critical moment, a time when social inequality and climate crisis challenge our conscience, and yet Islamic finance holds profound tool for meaningful change. But to truly move the needle, we must evolve. Today, my intervention, which is titled Driving Shared Prosperity, the Role of Islamic Social Finance in Strengthening Islamic Banks, aim to reinforce one message. That is, shared prosperity is not just an aspiration. It is an Islamic mandate and a strategic responsibility for all Islamic financial institutions. Before I delve into further details, I would like to remind ourselves of the invaluable observation by Imam Ibn Khaldun, where he says, civilization flourishes when wealth circulates widely. It declines when wealth is hoarded by a minority. Today, I invite you to reimagine Islamic social finance through 3 levers or 3 shifts that will move us from fragmented efforts to systemic, scalable, and sustainable impact. Ladies and gentlemen, the first lever is from program to scale. Too often, social finance in our industry remains confined to well-intentioned but limited programs, relying largely on zakat funds and the much smaller pools of sadaqah and waqaf. Many initiatives are program-oriented and siloed. While noble, this alone cannot meet the scale of need around us. To create a real challenge, social finance must become scalable, integrated, and core to our banking model. As a financial and investment intermediary, the Islamic financial institution is uniquely positioned to be the do-good intermediary. How? By linking the affluent with the underserved, donors with beneficiaries. We can embed the do-good function within our deposits, cards, investment instruments, and even financing products. It's time to move social finance from charity column to the core integral propositions of Islamic finance products and practices. This brings us to the second lever, from product to ecosystem. And Islamic finance should no longer see itself merely a product provider. We must become ecosystem platforms for social empowerment, connecting all key agents, individual customers, institutional investors, fintechs, NGOs, zakat bodies, academics, and communities in need. This reflects the timeless wisdom of Al-Imam Al-Ghazali, who said, "The essence of society is cooperation. Without it, civilization crumbles." Through an ecosystem approach, we enable every player to contribute according to their strengths. Partnering with fintech to enhance reach seamlessly through modern technology, working with NGOs to ensure genuine community impact, aligning with authorities and regulators to enable supportive policies and coordinated execution. The idea that everything must be built in-house and done in silos is outdated. Through partnerships, we move from offering isolated products to hosting an ecosystem where social value is continuously created and multiplied. Alhamdulillah, we have few use cases and early successes under iTakat, a collaborative effort of all Islamic financial institutions in Malaysia under the support of Bank Negara, but it's time to scale and industrialize the initiative. The final and perhaps the most crucial lever, from measuring output to demonstrating outcomes. It is an easy job to report numbers. We disbursed X million. We assisted Y beneficiaries, but numbers alone do not reflect transformation. Did our financing truly lift families from poverty? Did our green initiatives genuinely improve environments? Did our youth program create lasting livelihoods? We must embrace rigorous impact reporting, transparent and data-informed. This builds trust, and in finance, trust is our most valuable asset. Islamic banks have to also improve its storytelling capabilities. Let's tell the stories behind the numbers, the families, the entrepreneurs, the communities. Story build emotional trust. Story remind everyone that Islamic finance is about people, not just profit or numbers. When stakeholders see tangible, verified outcomes, confidence in Islamic banking grows stronger and deeper. It is not enough to To count transactions, we must show the change we create. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, so let us move forward with courage and clarity. First, design for scale. Make social impact core, not peripheral. Second, build ecosystems. Collaborate beyond our walls to create platforms of shared value. The third one, measure outcome, prove impact, strengthen trust, and lead with integrity. Let us all build an Islamic social finance that doesn't just give charity, but change lives at scale for good. Before I conclude, I would like to thank IIUM Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, IIBF, International Islamic University Malaysia, and its supporters who have worked tirelessly to bring this summit to life. Your dedication reflects our shared aspiration to deliver meaningful solutions and create lasting impact. May Allah guide our efforts, bless our intentions, and strengthen our resolve as we continue this journey towards a more equitable and compassionate financial system for all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Ramadan. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we now move to our panel discussion number 4, benchmarking and rating of Islamic social finance projects. Our moderator is Dr. Muhammad Mahboubi Ali, Deputy Dean Research Innovation and Development IIBF, and our panelists are Davina Ahmad Hilmi, CEO of Hong Leong Islamic Bank Berhad, Nur Hidayah Salim, Head Group Mind Impact Center of Excellence, Maybank Islamic Berhad, and Muhammad Zikri Muhammad Shairi, Director of Social Finance Division, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. I warm welcome, please welcome to the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good afternoon, respected guests, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the last panel session. I believe this is the most challenging session after lunch and the last session. And basically, if you look at the session during lunch or over lunch, basically this is the fifth session. Because I observed that the session over lunch is much more intensive and longer than this session. So in this session we will be discussing one of the important topic on benchmarking and rating Islamic social finance. Why this topic is important? Because yes, to understand why Islamic social finance become an integral component of the Islamic financial ecosystem. However, looking at the scale and the complexity of social finance project, we can see that there is a need for consistent standards, impact measurements, as well as credible benchmarking and transparent rating mechanism. On this note, we are privileged to have our three distinguished industry leaders as our panelists who will share their perspective on this topic. So I'm honored as a moderator, as a moderate person, to serve as moderator among the intelligent panelists, inshallah. The first panelist will be Madam Davina Ahmad Hilmi, who is the CEO of Hong Leong Islamic Bank. And the second panelist is Ustaz Muhammad Zikri Muhammad Shairi, who is currently the Director of Social Finance Division, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. And our last panelist is Puan Nur Hidayah Salim, who is currently Head of Group May Impact Center of Excellence Maybank Islamic Bank. To begin with our discussion, I would like to pose a general question to all our distinguished panelists. We understand that Islamic banking is a commercial entity. It is not a charity entity organization. Question is, what is so important for Islamic social finance to become one of the integral component within the banking ecosystem? Why should we take Islamic social finance as our main agenda, main initiative in our Islamic banking activities? Perhaps we can start with Madam Davina.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahmoudi, for the question. When the Financial Sector Master Plan 22-26 was unveiled by the Central Bank of Malaysia, by PNM, one of the thrusts is to mainstream social finance. And looking back from where we are to where we are today, and I think alongside with the theme of 20 years of the good work done by IIUM and where the industry is, we have seen there has been a lot of progress done from where we were to where we are today with regards to scaling Islamic social finance. What we see from the industry, from Bank Islam, Maybank Islamic, CIB Islamic, and of course across all the other banking sectors, Islamic banks, Islamic social finance is no longer an add-on. It is already integral to the Islamic banking fraternity, and it is the foundation mandate of an Islamic bank. Looking at an Islamic financial intermediary, where we are looking at promoting the 5 pillars of Islamic wealth management, from wealth creation to wealth accumulation, to wealth preservation, to wealth purification and wealth distribution. It is already embedded within how wealth is to be stewarded. And I think that is our role here as Khalifas or custodians of managing wealth, and being part of an Islamic financial intermediary. It is our duty. And I think on that note, it is no longer an add-on. It has to be something that is integral. The comment on how do we commercialize, yes. I think during the earlier days when we said we have to mainstream Islamic social finance, we always see it as part of a donation, part of zakat, sedekah, part of one of the requirements that we need to do as Muslim. But today, mobilizing the capital towards benefiting segments, targeted segments, is very important and is crucial for an Islamic bank to work with partners in order to meet that purpose.
you, madam. Zulkifli perhaps would like to add why we need to integrate Islamic social finance within the Islamic banking ecosystem, given the fact that banking is a commercial entity.
Thank you, Pak Budi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Puan Rafina, Puan Hidayah, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm so grateful today, especially after listening to the plenary speech by Dr. Ramadan, as well as the remark by Puan Rafina just now. It shows the senior leaders of the industry really push position of the social finance within the Islamic finance background. So from my perspective, please allow me to bring one story. When one of ITCAD micro entrepreneur, a lady micro entrepreneur in Malacca, she's running tailoring shop, very niche in terms of the business model because she focused to tailor, to alter and to repair the army or the soldiers' uniform because she's located in Sungai Udang. She's a cancer fighter. The financial situation is very bad and make her even stay and live in the shop itself. We assess her potential in terms of the business. We inject the microfinance capital, ITCAD, towards her business. And Alhamdulillah, the business growth, we give few other ITCAD facilities to this Kapma. And surprisingly, when she went to the medical checkup and doctor informed that the health is improving, the cancer situation is now improving, make it become better. So I would say that when the potential of social finance, I believe the role of social finance shall prove that Islamic finance is not only talking about compliance and talking about growth, but it also provide, it also empower the community. It gives the community opportunity, especially the underserved community, to regain their dignity and bring, push up the family and the society at large. So this is, I believe that if I can echo what has been conveyed by the Deputy Minister just now, when Allah SWT mentions, Kaila takuna dulatan bainan arniya minkum, so that the wealth is not circulated among the rich only. So this is where, through social finance, we can really push the potential of Islamic finance at large.
Thank you. Mr. Nabi Salim, perhaps you have.
Assalamualaikum. If I can just add on to that, I think the role of Islamic banks has traditionally been conceptualized as a financial intermediary. So to latch on what my colleague Dr. Ramadan mentioned just now, our fiduciary duty has shifted from just a financial intermediary to ensure that our monies are actually earning returns, but beyond that is actually for us to become a responsible financial intermediary to do good, right? So that is our shift paradigm from just a mere financial intermediary, from taking deposits to giving financing or investing to financing assets. Leveraging on Ustad's story just now, when I look at social finance, the underserved segments that we are trying to empower is actually our investment to our future customers. Today, they may not be able to get financing from us, given their credit history or maybe their unstable income, but they are our potential future customers. So with the right guidance, with the right nurturing, these people can actually grow into our viable, long-term, sustainable relationship with our customers. Today they may be a micro entrepreneurs, but tomorrow they can actually embrace or expand their venture and become a bigger SMEs. Or let's say it's individuals, right? Today they may be coming from low income, but tomorrow they may be taking home financing with us, maybe taking car financing with us, because those are basic necessities. So they grow with us, they measure with us, that creates that long-term relationship. So in essence, today's underserved segment are actually our future viable long-term customers that will grow with us as we grow our banking.
Thank you, Sister Nolidaya, to add perspective on the importance of integrating Islamic social finance within banking, Islamic banking ecosystem. And as Madam Davina said earlier, that it is not just an add-on, but it is the responsibility of an Islamic banking institution as Khalifa to serve not only the profit, not only to the shareholders, but also to the people, to the public at large, as well to society. So on this note, I'd like to move to the second question for all panelists. Could you share with us on the key or remarkable experience on Islamic social finance projects in your respective institution or banks? Perhaps we can start with Zikri on this, on Sedekah House, other project that probably you would like to share with audience here.
I think Dr. Mahbudi already mentioned the sample that I want to mention is Sedekah House. Sedekah House started in 2018. When Bank Islam became the off-taker to the feasibility research by University Islam Selangor. And at the first start, we don't see the potential of Sedekah House. We just saw the Sedekah House as typical charity crowdfunding platform. You have the platform, you have the charity projects being listed, and then the donors will choose which projects that they want to donate. So along the way, when Almarhum Datuk Dr. Abdul Halim Ismail gave his fund around 200,000 ringgit as the start, and he mentioned to us when we visited him at his house at Bukit Damansara. He said, take this money, but you must invest only the profit to be distributed outrightly to the communities. So from there, we saw a bank can do perpetual fund for this kind of donation, because people have trust to the financial institutions. So they want to leverage on that expertise and the trust that we have. So, and then during the COVID-19, institutional donor gave us few millions of donation, but the mandate given to us is to distribute that donation by way of microfinance. This is where I take up Bangkit has born. So we started that enabled us to design a Bangkit with 0% Qardul Hasan, and again with the model of blended finance. So this is I think how we can reimagine the Islamic finance playing the role as the value-based intermediary to the society, is to also amplify the impact of social finance, managing professionally, mobilizing the fund, and we could add value to the existing ecosystem of the social finance with state Islamic religious councils, civil society organizations, and so on. So Sedekah House become the catalyst to a lot of projects that we have to the microfinance. Even if some people may aware our project in Kedah, the affordable house for the Asnaf, we work together with Lembaga Zakat Negeri Kedah, whereby we do hybrid funding. 50% come from the zakat and another 50% come from the normal banking facility. So again, we are currently exploring how this in Sedekah House Perpetual Fund, we can also take it and to replace the source of fund from the depositors fund that we use currently in our design or our model with the lembaga zakat.
The perpetual fund is basically coming from the bank or from the
donors.
depositors?
From the donors.
Okay. So on this note, I'd like to further explore the issue specifically. Yes, we understand that we can easily have so many impactful projects that can be financed by Islamic social finance instrument. But I think the challenge that we are facing is on the collection amount. It is not always easy, for example, to create awareness for the public to donate, for example, in Sedekah House, in wakaf deposit, whatsoever. Because we have an experience in Indonesia, we have just started the product called cash wakaf link deposit. Mainly in the case of sukuk, we do have cash wakaf link sukuk. The idea is very beautiful, but when it comes to selling this product, it is not always easy to attract people to donate. See, for example, in Indonesia, our cash wakaf link deposit, link sukuk, for example, was awarded the world the best innovative Islamic finance instrument by IDB. But do you know what happened when we offered it to the public? The wakaf link sukuk basically is very much under subscription compared to the sovereign sukuk, where the government offer the retail sukuk, for example, with 6 to 6.5% return with significantly higher sukuk profit. But when it comes to wakaf link with sukuk, wakaf link with deposit, it is not so successful, especially when it comes to the collection. So how does Bank Islam, for example, with its Sedekah House, for example, address the issue of collection from the public?
That's challenging as well. Fundraising for the Sedekah is really challenging. Customers are familiar with the deposits, and this is different as compared to the deposit products. But again, throughout the pitching, we do the pitching. We go into the corporates, the corporate funders, the high net worth individuals, and we promote the model of the project. And Alhamdulillah, that's why I think for the first 3 or 5 years, we are focusing on creating the success story, because it's easy to understand, to convince the potential donors if they have clarity in terms of what and when their proceeds of the donation to be used. But it's learning. We are also learning how to increase and amplify the fund size. But it's really exciting.
I think we can also learn from Madam Davina on this issue, because just want to share with you on our country. Our country has been regarded as the most philanthropic country globally. But when it's come to the wakaf, when it's come to sedekah, compare, for example, with the sukuk, retail sukuk, commercial sukuk, it is uncomparable. So that means that our Muslim society is much more attractive toward dunyawi rather than ukhrawi, right? Although scholars say that dunya is just a capital, akhirat is just a profit, but now I think most of Muslims only think that dunya, capital and profit should come together in dunya and in akhirah. So perhaps Madam Davina could also share with us on the remarkable experience in the context of Hong Leong Islamic Bank, how you address the issue of collection, for example.
Thank you, Dr. Mahmoudi. I think that's a very interesting question, because it comes back to the motivation of the investors. And I think even today, just as an example, when digital banks first came about in Malaysia, we have 5 digital banks, of which 2 are Islamic. Mandate is to cover the underserved segment, right? But I think for the digital banks to scale clients, they had to give higher rates. So in the end, all investors, everybody, they wanted to place their funds just to get the higher rates. So people are motivated by higher rates. It's not so much about the intention behind it, right? So that's why when we look at wealth management, yes, we look at zakat, sedekah, wakaf as a pillar of Islamic social finance instrument. But the basis of financial literacy, the basis of how do you create wealth is very important, because that's where when we say, oh, you invest in this project or you put your money in this bank, you get so much returns. So it becomes very much people are driven by where can they place for a higher return, as opposed to as Muslims, our cost is greater than that, right? First, you have to make sure you get halal income, you get the right access to getting financing from banks and so forth. And then how do you grow that wealth and put in investment? Sharia investment, structured product. Today most banks offer Islamic products. And then after that, you look at takaful. How do you protect yourself in the event of a calamity and protect your loved ones? Then you go into making sure you have enough wealth. Let me channel that into zakat, sedekah, wakaf. So it is like it's a journey. And I think this is where today it's seen quite separated. So when people start to think, oh, they just want to, let's say, intention is like, oh, they wanted to buy a house, go to bank, financing, or they wanted to nak sedekah, okay, sedekah, ikut punya app semua, but they don't. We have to talk about the whole cycle, the whole journey. But I think it is an important topic, because even for us, when we're looking at scaling, let's say we're looking at cash wakaf or sukuk now, because we mentioned tokenization. How do you get this more digital, more accessible to a wider audience? But in the end, are you going to get the take up from the investors? Retail investors are still looking at the returns. So you can only go for the institutional investors. Why? Because they have a mandate to look at investing in ESG or sustainability punya target. But I think that's where innovation comes in. And can I just share some of the recent examples that we have seen? So when we worked for our social finance program through iTekat, and I'm a proponent of how Bank Negara has come with iTekat, because it provides a way for Islamic banks to think of how can they mobilize these funds, not just with the grant, but getting partners. The success of any social finance program that we have seen so far is really about the collaboration with various parties. So for Bank Islamic in 2022, when we first started working with Architect, they did alternative scoring. The underlying was a dropship, selling supplements. So that was one. We just gave seed capital, and then we provide the training, and that was it. After that, we moved into working with Medcash. I think some of the banks are working with them as well, looking at women entrepreneurs, B40 women entrepreneurs. So they provide the training, same thing, because I think it's about job creation and sustaining their livelihood. Then we worked with Suri Lifestyle, also single women. That was also very impressive, because what they do is that they upcycle used clothes, and always I've met the single women, so they come from different backgrounds. They don't have a skill of how to sew. So when they are taught how to sew, so what they do is that they're able to sell their products through tote bags and so forth. But they were doing so well that Suri managed to get contracts from hotels, 5-star hotels, where they needed to recycle their linen. So then they opened in Langkawi. So when we worked with Suri in Langkawi, we also worked with PNET, because PNET, they're looking at digitalizing the community. And in Langkawi, their main source of income is tourism. So these single women, the reason they wanted to join Suri is because they wanted to have another skill. Because at that time, tourism income quite unlimited now, what's going on. So when they learn another skill, they add on a new knowledge. So that is where the continuity is. And so, recently, when we worked with one of the state agencies, So this one, we work with the state agency. It is to develop F&B entrepreneurs. They are all home-based businesses. We provided a central kitchen through iSFIS, but we also use funds from the state agency. So one thing we discovered is that there are organizations that also have their own funds allocation. Something that I feel that, within a lot of organizations, they would have their own philanthropic, their own CSR funds that can be combined for the purposes of supporting these entrepreneurs. So for that program, 18-month program, it was actually with NCER, Northern Corridor Economic Region. So looking at driving 40 F&B entrepreneurs, they got in an operator to teach these entrepreneurs how to bring their home-based food into the central kitchen. And it is halal certified kitchen. So they also get the halal certification, working with the Penang Halal Authority. And then after the central kitchen, after the 18 months is done, completed, so they graduate. After that, the asset will be transferred to Wakaf Pulau Pinang. So one thing I also learned in my discussions with state Wakaf agencies, they are actually very commercially driven. So it was an eye-opener for me when we looked at the presentation from Wakaf Pulau Pinang, and I'm sure all the other Wakaf authorities in every state have their own mandate. They are really looking to commercialize and unlock capital of Wakaf assets. So what that means is that the central kitchen continues. And we also always want to see that continuity. So we speak about this and we say, hey, why not open the kitchen door that other people go in and then people will charge something. So now we talk about how do you move to commercially viable. So at least if they can get income from new entrepreneurs that wants to do their cooking at Central Kitchen, then there's income for the Wakaf Pulau Pinang to generate, to support their other projects. So what I like about the recent collaboration is that we have moved from just working with one partner, by the training, then by the funding, make sure they succeed, and then we just track based on how much revenue that they make and so forth. But this one, we work with Wakaf Pulau Pinang, work with Penang Halal International. So many parties involved, and then the best part is the operator yang teach all these F&B entrepreneurs. They have experience of growing these F&B to export. So yang pengasas ni, they export to Shanghai, to China. During Nihas, they went to Shanghai. So it's like the pathway of scaling is really amazing. So I memang grateful, bersyukur we had the opportunity to work with all the parties, but it's not the bank alone, you see, it's like everybody was involved. And again, our role is not just providing the financial literacy, we've got a whole suite of, Takaful, for example. How do we support all these home-based owners that they may not be familiar or aware? And so, the whole ecosystem, everybody uplifts each other together.
But still, the funding is from the public, right?
So that one we got partially from iSFIS, partially from the bank's source of capital through zakat, some CSR funds, and also we got from our innovation partner. So that's one thing I realized, that there's a lot of organizations, they also have their own funds. So it's just to put our hands up and say, can we collaborate? Then have a joint and aligned cause. How do we help segments that is having the similar objectives with the bank or the agency?
Very interesting. Perhaps Puan Nurhidayah could share with us also on Maybank Islamic experience in Islamic social network.
Okay. I think before we actually encourage people to donate through us, we have to walk the talk. We have to show examples. So most of, before we can actually encourage them to contribute, right? So we know there's evidence that this particular bank can actually create tangible outcome, tangible impact, that they will actually be encouraged or influenced to actually donate through the banks. But if you don't show that, there's no proof point. So why should I go through this bank when I can actually go directly to the Majlis Agama, for instance, right? It's direct. So going back to that walk the talk, what we have done so far is that our social empowerment programs have been largely funded by our zakat fund. So Impiana Islamic zakat year on year, partially is distributed directly to the Majlis Agama and zakat bodies, but a portion of it is actually retained for us to distribute for specific programs. So we identify programs across the different pillars, whether it's entrepreneurship, education, or humanitarian aid, and so on. We identify the programs that has a tangible outcome. If I can just share one example of program, we have gone into a second series in fact, like Puan Alvina mentioned about women, right? So we also have a women program, women empowerment program, where we collaborated with a social enterprise called Impiana. So Impiana, they run a social empowerment program for women, in particular mothers. So obviously the term Ibu gives it away, is for mothers, where we want to actually empower them with business skills, financial skills, something that they can apply immediately. The modules range from looking at financials of cost, profit, because sometimes when they start, they already start business. But when they start business, it's just that I buy raw materials, I produce maybe, started this day today with the story of nasi lemak, right? So they start cooking nasi lemak and then they sell. But when it comes to costing and profit, you don't know. So eventually, at the end of the month, they don't know how much profit that they make, right? So that business and financial skills is important. They are also developed for marketing skills. For instance, even looking at how they craft and curate their brand, right? Sometimes we human beings are actually visual beings, right? So we look at something that is nice looking brand. We are excited to know what kind of product is this, right? Or even photography, right? Photography skills. They are taught how to take good pictures, how to market that. Again, when we look at something nice, even for picture, we are sold, right? Even before we actually look at the actual product, we look at the picture. That is the first turning point. Oh, actually, let's explore. This is a good product, right? So that skills, from our perspective, it look like it may be trivial, right? It's just taking pictures or learning costing and profit. But to these women entrepreneurs, it's very beneficial because they probably start with just a side hustle to gain income for the families and dependents. But they don't know how to actually develop that and generate more income. So these skills actually help them to go better and actually even expand their ventures. Another program, also zakat funded, a megapreneur that looks at 3 courses: commercial food, mobile repair, and also aircon services. So those are critical skills, right? So when our aircon at home is not working, we want to find someone to repair, right? So these are essential skills that every household can actually reach out to. One of the participants, he has been doing GrabFood rider. So when he shifted to mobile repair, instead of being on the road, always on the road, less time with the family, but when he shifted to mobile repair, working from home, 4 to 5 hours, he has made more than what he do for a 1 day period. So this is something that impact you not just from perspective of income generation, but he has more time with the family. So this is where we want to see actions and outcomes. And when we publicize this, our customer sees that, oh, this bank or this institution can actually make a difference. That's where we can actually encourage them to contribute to us. But sometimes it can come from perspective of it's not voluntary or it's not upfront of giving maybe a 1,000 donation, but it's credential is that for instance, our equine card, right? Whenever people spend, a certain percentage actually goes into an equine charity fund that we use for charitable donations or charitable purposes. So they don't actually consciously like, oh, I put in 1,000, you can use the money for the charitable purposes, but I just use the card every day. So that funds gets accumulated over a year, and that's when Islamic uses it for charitable purposes. Of course, that's coming from the fund for Islamic, but it doesn't stop us from doing something similar, from innovative product or deposit, for instance. Perhaps a certain return, a portion of return from the deposits is actually channeled to charitable purposes. So what they get is this net profit of what has been apportioned from what is donated and what is net goes into their account. So it's just naturally. So they are not forced or should I put 1,000 or should I not, right? So it comes naturally.
Thank you. Thank you for the response on sharing the experience of Bank Islam, Maybank as Hong Leong in Islamic Social Finance Project, and also to address the issue of public confidence as well as the awareness toward Islamic social finance. But on the other hand, we have also an issue of what we call the project itself, the effectiveness of Islamic social finance project. Perhaps if I can go deeper into that question to Puan Nur Hidayah. From your perspective, or perhaps from Maybank Islamic perspective, how do you assess the effectiveness of Islamic social finance programs? Earlier in the morning, for example, Lembaga Zakah Kedah shared with us the parameters or the indicators to measure the effectiveness of Islamic social finance project, looking at the outcome measurement, looking at the replication by other party, as well as the partners feedback. But from your perspective, or from Islamic bank perspective, what should be the indicators or parameters or the outcome measurement for the Islamic social finance within the Islamic banking ecosystem?
Maybank Islamic actually developed an internal impact management matrix that evaluate the progress impact so that we can see the effectiveness of our contribution and our social initiatives, but also for to facilitate us in terms of informed and data-driven decision making. So before we want to explore new programs, we see how the effectiveness of the previous programs. This matrix actually emphasizes on the maximizing impact in two key areas. One is the social reach. Secondly is about reputational enhancement. Social reach, of course, we look at the output in terms of number of the beneficiaries impacted, outcome, because the intended outcome that is trying to be realized from the program, contribution to a targeted group, for instance. Is it for youth? Is it for women? Is it for B40s? And alignment to global standards. For instance, like UN SDGs. How many UN SDG goals are we actually taking? Alignment to Makasih Syariah. So that's social outreach. Reputational, we cannot put that aside. Like I said, walking the talk, right? Putting that visibility. So reputational, looking at the visibility of the program, the validation or recognition from third parties, like also mentioned by Bangsa this morning. How does it demonstrate clear differentiators and endorsement sanction from regulators or authorities like even United Nations, for instance? So from these two aspects, how we rate whether it's effective or how efficient our social investment are. Looking at the parameters, we typically look at how sustainable the program is. So we want to ensure that we create lasting impact. I know this has been repeated so many times, but that saying, right? You give someone a fish one day, they live one day. But if you give a fishing rod or teach that person how to fish, they live longer term. Because we want to ensure that we give them the right assistance, not just a one-off assistance that they can live one day, but for them to actually sustain on their own. So that's one, but sustainability. The other point is about monitoring. So once we give them the right skills, the right knowledge, we cannot just leave them on their own. So we have to monitor to ensure that they actually gain the knowledge, they are applying the knowledge. So monitoring at least the 6 months period is required. And that's why in IT cut, they emphasize on monitoring. And minimum 6 months, even they are asking whether you should go up to 12 months or 24 months, because we cannot change the underserved segments or the empowering and expect them to change in just 6 months. Lastly, the third is about strategic partner. It is important for us to identify partners that can help us execute it right. Executing it right, tracking the progress, because they're not just executing the programs, they are connecting with the participants. If they cannot connect, then halfway you probably have 50% dropping out from the program. So it's important to find the right partners, strategic partners that can execute and also implement the program and also connect with the participants. And lastly is about postmortem. Postmortem in the sense that just like how we do customer validation, right? We also have to do validation with the participants. So are we doing it right? Is this program really benefiting them? Or are they just attending classes and then go back and they don't actually apply it? So we really have to see whether the participants actually benefit from the program. So post-mortem is key to ensure that the program effectiveness.
Thank you, Puan, for sharing the impact measurement in the case of Islamic, Islamic on the Islamic Social Fund project. Before we go further into some questions that I would like to pose. Any question from the floor, or perhaps you could open the Slido so that we can take up some questions from the participants. Dr. Harina? Yes, please, sir, if you could. Yeah, then the second one is Dr. Harina. Salam. Yes, share with you my experience. The mic is not working. Hello. Yeah. Yes, please proceed. Yeah. Okay. I'm from Singapore. Just to share with you my experience in Singapore doing social finance.
Okay, just to share with you, I saw a lot of projects on the once the fund is collected. The challenge we have is how to collect the fund. Yeah? My background, I was in insurance for many years. I'm now a specialist on Muslim law and estate. So what I do for my client, we serve them from the start all the way to the end of the death. So I've done something like zakat planning, which is not done in Malaysia. Okay, I've done wakaf planning, which is not done in Malaysia. These products are from conventional insurance products. We are takaful here, but yet we do not maximize the strength of takaful, social economics actually. Takaful is actually a concept of helping each other. It's the concept of Jama'ah in economics, even in zakat and even in wakaf. So my client only put $100 a month, but when you pass away, the wakaf is 100,000. So this can be done because we look at the current system. We're trying to tap the high net worth to put more money for donation, contribution. We do not tap the mass, which they can afford to put aside 100 a month. When this policy is not being inherited, it will be going to the zakat or the wakaf. Okay, so this is missing. So, but to do this, you need a training system that can nurture a new breed of Islamic financial social advisor who understand the financial product in the market, who understand the Sharia, not just the Muslim law, but the Sharia, how to maximize the current product for social, financial social services. So because zakat itself is actually Islamic social system in itself, but we are not maximizing the system. So I see it's lacking the system now. How do we bring in the money? We are not training the right people in the market. We have financial advisors who are very good, but they were trained so well to even accept the door bang on their face. But they are promoting insurance product, financial product, which is not wrong. But if they only understand the Sharia part of insurance or takaful, how it can be used for social purposes like this, zakat or wakaf, I think these people can be trained to do the job. And they will be rewarded for the commission they receive from the sales, right? So all parties are winning. In fact, you can even create a new job among the Sharia scholars, the Sharia ustazah to promote such thing. Because there's no way people will put the money aside unless they trust the person. So there must be a system of nurturing new breed of advisors in the community that's in need. I've done it. I've done zakat planning, wakaf planning using financial product from Singapore, professional product. It is possible. Okay? So we must not ignore that. Look, the man is out there, but we are trying to tap the rich and high net worth. It's not going to work that well. Consider that.
Yeah. The keyword is the trust. Yeah. To build a trust of the public, the high net worth individual. Okay. Can I have Dr. Harim, please?
Assalamualaikum. I'm Harina from IBF. I have an input and one question. Alright, regarding with the recipient of concession finance, right? Based on my project that I went to the data collection at the ground, and what that I feel that and what we lack of is actually more on, do we include the voices come from the recipient itself? Because as a funder, as an institution, we tend to think what we think good for them, but are we real think what they really needed? Example that the training for the entrepreneurship, this entrepreneur, the module is more about property investment than about the blue ocean strategy. So that level is not par to what they need. So actually that is the input that I would like to convey. Can we as institution or the funder to include the voices from the recipient itself rather than we think what good for them or what they need rather than they are really need for that particular, right? And then for my question, regarding the benchmarking and the rating for the social finance, right? Because nothing come yet. So how do we develop the benchmarking and rating for that particular can be used as a whole as industry? That question. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harina. Anyone would like to respond? Madam? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Harina. The question about the benchmarking, I think it comes back to having the data. Because today data, when we talk about social finance projects, is quite fragmented. Just to share example for iTakat, right? So when we submit our information to BNM, they are looking at certain information, how many beneficiaries, how many are already digitally enabled, how much revenue have they made. So there are certain impact measures that we do disclose to BNM, but recently they are looking to enhance that data because a lot of this data is manually provided, manually extracted. So I think in today's data, digital age, I think we need to leverage on how can we, adopt technology to get data so that it becomes more, I would say, robust for any intervention or decision making, to the extent of looking at, where are these households located, which location, what is the impact, what is the continuity. Statistics have shown that a lot of the micro SMEs, within at least 3-4 years, they may not be able to sustain or go to the next level, okay? Because I think for all of us, the mandate is to ensure they are from non-zakat to zakat payers, from unbankable to bankable. That's the pathway. But a lot of these micro SMEs, they don't sustain for many reasons, because of the cost of competition, and I think today where technology is, if they do not innovate their product, it's going to be a bit difficult. Example, when I was in Kuala Terengganu, a lot of the vendors jual keropok lekor kan. So if everyone is selling keropok lekor, and all of them say that they want to be halal certified to make sure that their operations follow the standards and everything, but how do you differentiate kan? So at the end, we say it's how you market. Just now you mentioned the content. How do they bring this up? How do you ensure that they can differentiate themselves so that they can sell their products at kiosk, Petronas, and so forth? So I think your second question on the benchmark, the data is important. Today is, at least from what I've seen from what we are doing right now, is very manual. So not enough. In fact, we met up with one of the fintech, saying that they wanted to see, can we have a social finance index? So I was like, apa tu? Social finance index. You can only have an index, I think, once you've got enough data, enough ways for you to be able to benchmark. So, but I thought it was a good idea, but I think we will be leading towards that, okay? I mean, having an index, so that we can really measure how successful are the projects, not just an individual organization, but across the industry. Just now, your other question was about, what was your first question again? Oh yes, yeah, that is very, very important. So today, that's why when we work with the implementation partner, we get, I would say, a feedback loop. We triangulate information, not just from the bank. We know one of the biggest pain point is that they need funding, okay? They need financing. So that's the first thing. And of course, we need the training. How do they get the business skills to ensure they can continue to sell? Some of these entities, as they become more, not to say advanced, they will say things like, oh, they need to know e-invoicing, or they need to know how to do bookkeeping. So, but when you're a micro SME, everything you do on your own, you have to buy the raw material, you can prepare yourself, everything is on you. Financing pun on you. I've met someone, dia jual dekat one of the projects we did dekat Skinchan, dekat pasar the pasar there. So we wanted to make sure they are cashless. We always advise micro SMEs, first thing you want to do is open a bank account with any bank. Doesn't have to be with Hong Kong Islamic, of course we say Hong Kong Islamic. Open with any bank, make sure your record is digital first. Once you have the statements, 3 months, 6 months, you can show the cash flow, then you can start to apply for financing or say, oh okay, I nak berkembang my business, I want to grow my business, where do I get, how do I learn more? Okay, we can tell you, why don't you work with some of these partners that we're working with. And I have seen one, I didn't speak to this vendor personally, selling, not chakri one of those food, doing very well because it's very successful. Driving an Audi, but it's like like money in, money out. If you don't have, again, going back to financial literacy, financial management, it's just going to be funds that you may do well, but it's not sustainable. So that's why a lot of whatever we do when it comes to social finance project, it comes down to financial literacy. Because without financial literacy, it will be not sustainable for the business owner to understand how do they manage their funds. I think financial literacy doesn't just talk about micro SME or even us as working adults. Then we also need to know how do we manage our funds better. How do we be, I would say, I can use the word debt free. And of course, today, in Malaysia, household debt is one of the highest. But these are the things that comes with making sure, when we look at the whole pillar of Islamic wealth management and going into Islamic social finance, it is a bigger, the scale is bigger. So that's why no banks can do it alone. We have to work with all of us together. And I think now, because for this event, I will also say that academia plays an important role. The youth, future leaders, there's a lot that needs to be done to educate at every level.
Thank you, Madam. I have another 5 minutes to finish. So perhaps I would like to ask a question for each panelist as a wrap up and to summarize your discussion. I would like to start with Ustaz Zikri on the issue on impact measurement. Earlier, Madam Davina mentioned the issue of insufficient data that lead to the absence of benchmarking and tracking. So with this kind of issue, what are the operational or perhaps also governance issues faced by Islamic banks, including Bank Islam, in implementing impact measurement tools for Islamic social finance projects across the country?
Just two challenges that I want to highlight. Number one is the familiarity with the internationally accepted impact measurement methodology. We have lot, we have like social return on investment, we have GRI and whatnot. But how the bank really familiar and can implement that kind of impact measurement methodology, that number one. Number two is the most important is data collection. So the data collection is related to the resources, lack of resources that we have, the priority that we have. That's why in our experience in Bank Islam, when we started the IT card, when we do the data collection through manual, we do the phone call, we circulate the Google form, we do the site visit. But again, the quality of data that we receive is not that encouraging for us. So later we try to innovate, we try to understand their difficulty in committing to give the data to us. So we partner up with the fintech, Messenger. Few other banks has been partnering with Messenger. We provide that Messenger app to the micro entrepreneur, and we just encourage them to use that app as their POS, the point of sale. So they just do their business as usual using that app, and that app can also assist them to do the bookkeeping. But at the back end, Bank Islam will have the access to the dashboard to see the growth, to see the inventory, to see the sales and whatnot. So, but it comes the other challenges to encourage them to do to use that app. So again, that's journey in doing the impact measurement. But I would say that that kind of impact measurement is not only for the post-event. Post-event, I mean post-disbursement or post-project, but also to be used in projecting what are the intended outcome we want to achieve in designing a particular intervention under social finance. Like if we are the bank or the takaful operator, we will do the projected ROI before we launch a product. So again, we should replicate the same. We have to do the projected social return on investment on a particular or a new social finance product to be launched, to be offered to the communities.
Thank you, Mr. Ziki, for the response. My final question to Puan Rafida is, in your view, because the topic is on benchmarking, why this benchmarking is important in enhancing the credibility and effectiveness of Islamic social finance initiative, and how could we shift the paradigm of public from more duniawi oriented into akhirat oriented, more duniawi return into more akhirat return. So we don't only look at the disbursement side, but also on how we can basically address the issue of corrections. Over to you.
Okay. The structured way of looking at how effective the program is, right? This is important because we want to assess the performance, but we cannot assess on our own. And if I say from bahasa short sendiri and say that, oh, we did good, right? But we have to actually look at against recognized standards or other initiatives to benchmark against to see how do we fare against a particular standard that is applied across the industry. And we need to determine whether our resources are being utilized efficiently. As you mentioned this now, right? We have to look at the how we look at ROI when we investment is the same thing. We also have to look at so-called return on investment, which may not be monetary, but the outcome of it. So that is key. There are standards outside that, or that is not being labeled as Islamic finance, but we can actually apply it. I'm sure most of you have heard about business for social societal impact, right, before SI. It's not being labeled as Islamic finance or applicable for Islamic finance, but we can actually adapt in terms of benchmarking. First, we look at input, right? Input, how do you get the contribution? What is the intended impact that we want to look at? Where do you want to actually do the program? More often, we only stop at after input, we look at output. Output in the sense that how many beneficiaries impacted. So how many income is generated? We saw the output. That's usually how we reported it. Or 100 beneficiaries impacted, or 1,000 beneficiaries impacted. But we don't go to the next level, which is outcome. Outcome is where we want to look at what is the change that we make from our program. So these are benchmark, recognized standards, framework that we can actually adopt in Islamic finance, even though it's not an Islamic finance specific framework.
Thank you, Puan Rafida. And my final question to Madam Davina. As a CEO of Islamic Bank, what is your call to action for industry leaders? We have Ishaniman here as well, we have Asri, who are also the CEO of Islamic Bank, and Yari Takaful, in supporting the Islamic social finance agenda, and what are the new and emerging funding opportunities to advance Islamic social finance? Over to you.
I think the call to action is really about, how do we scale Islamic social finance? I think today, as we mentioned earlier, a lot has been done already by many, Islamic banks that we see today, and a lot of good progress and effort. But to scale it may come with looking at innovative structures. Just now it was mentioned looking at cash, wakaf, linked deposit, or looking at tokenization. We hear a lot about this, and as we all know, Bank Negara has also launched their digital asset innovation hub, a sandbox. So all these, would be areas to innovate so that we can scale. So there's wider acceptance, make it easy for people to be aware how can we channel funds to support or mobilize some of these causes. I think in terms of the benchmarking, looking at how do we measure, measurement is very important. If you don't track, you don't measure, you don't know how to see what are you on track? Is the outcome good? It is important, but we have to be clear that we're not going to be, I don't know, impact washing. So we hear last time it was greenwashing, and it was halal washing, impact washing. So we have to be clear, yeah. And why is that the case? Because we're not having a prescribed standard. Everyone will disclose as what they see. And I think to what Dr. Zikri mentioned and Bodina is like, that data is as good as what the bank discloses, but it's like the authenticity, how is it relevant to when we talk about having the benchmark and the measurement, right? And I think the last point I want to make is that we have to collaborate. As what I've seen from the successes, from what I've seen being in Islamic Bank, we have to work with various parties, whether it's fintech, whether it's academia, universities. Universities have a lot of good development research when it comes to social finance initiative, when it comes to entrepreneurial development, community development. It's I'm learning, and I was really amazed when I speak to some of these universities. One of the universities we want to work with, UCMI, they're looking to develop their Wakaf initiative further to support healthcare. So we make it very targeted, very purpose-driven, and no institution can do this on our own. We have to work together. So I guess that's my comments.
Thank you very much, Madam Sedafina, for the response. With that, we end our session. The three keywords that I can summarize in this session: data, walk the talk, as well as collaboration. Thank you, Ustaz Zikri. Thank you, Madam Davina. Thank you, Pak Hidayah, for sharing your experience. We give a round of applause to all our students. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Over to you, Mr. Zikri.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, our moderator and panelists. Once again, we give you a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, as our gratitude and appreciation, I would like now to invite Professor Dr. Ramzi Rosman, Dean of IBF, to present a memento to our panelists and moderator. We start with welcome Madam Davina Ahmad Haidmi, CEO of Hong Young Islamic Bank Berhad. Next, our token of appreciation to Nur Hidayah Salim, Head Group Manufacturing Center of Excellence, Medan Islam Berhad. And next, Ustaz Muhammad Zikri Muhammad Syari, Director of Social Finance Division, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. And last but not least, our moderator, Dr. Muhammad Mahbub Ali, the Deputy Research Innovation and Development IDF. Can we have a group photo together? A group photo together. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. Dr. Ramzi, our moderator and panelists. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the end of our session. For our final plenary session, entitled Sukuk in the Wakaf Ecosystem, a Malaysian concept, we are pleased to invite Dr. Muhammad Ayaz Muhammad Ismail, Director of Islamic Wholesale Banking at CIMB, Islamic Bank Berhad. Dr. Ayaz, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't escape me that I'm the last speaker today, and I come after a long list of other speakers that are legends in the field. And of course, how can anyone top the performance of Anak Bimbing from Gombak earlier? So, I will not try. If the whole of today was a meal, then I am your dessert. Hopefully, you will find me short and sweet. I will be presenting on sukuk in the Wakaf ecosystem, a Malaysian concept, a social finance journey from theory to practice, from knowledge to action. Next slide, please. By way of introduction, the estimated size of Wakaf lands in Malaysia is more than 13,000 hectares. Out of this, only about 10% of Wakaf land are productive currently, with over 90% not, which could amount to billions of ringgit. It has been suggested that the best strategy to develop and empower Wakaf is to integrate it into the Islamic finance system and consider the Islamic capital market, specifically sukuk. Next slide, please. Now, Malaysia is one of the world's most advanced Islamic banking and finance markets, and its sukuk market is the world's largest and most active. Despite the sophistication of the sukuk market in Malaysia, the sukuk market currently plays no role in the development of Wakaf assets in Malaysia. The Wakaf-linked sukuk may therefore be used as a mechanism to raise funds for the financing of the development of idle Wakaf land in Malaysia. Next slide, please. Now, these are the main constraints facing the development of idle Wakaf land in Malaysia. First, constitutional challenges. Second, funding challenges. Third, legal challenges. And fourth, governance challenges. Now, as can be seen, funding is one of the main constraints facing the development of idle Wakaf land in Malaysia. And by extension, funding is one of the main constraints facing the development of social finance as a whole in Malaysia. Next slide, please. Now, there are a number of precedents that we can take note of. First, the MUIS Sukuk Musyarakah. 20 years ago, MUIS issued a Sukuk Musyarakah to raise financing for a large-scale project on Wakaf property in Singapore. MUIS was hailed and recognized internationally for its innovation in utilizing the sukuk concept for the development of Wakaf. The amazing part about this is we are still talking about this sukuk issuance from more than 2 decades ago. It re-emphasizes the point that there surely must be further opportunities of developing Wakaf assets through sukuk. Next, the Sukuk Al-Intifaq. In 2005, Sukuk Al-Intifaq was issued to raise financing for the construction of the apartment towers on Wakaf land near Masjidil Haram in Makkah, Saudi Arabia. And this was followed by the Cash Wakaf Link Sukuk. The purposes of Cash Wakaf Link Sukuk were to enhance the capacity of Sharia financing and enhance Indonesia's Wakaf institutions. In the inaugural Sukuk, the funds were used to develop new Wakaf assets, particularly to support the construction of a retina center. Now, Dr. Mahboubi spoke about this in the panel before this as well, and the issue he raised on the lack of demand from the retail segment is something we have taken into consideration and solved, inshallah. Next slide, please. So far in Malaysia, sukuk has not been issued to develop Wakaf land. The main aim of this proposal is to present the compatibility of sukuk and more specifically, Wakaf-linked sukuk in Malaysia. The proposal does not merely suggest the use of sukuk to raise funds, but is cognizant of the numerous important factors that need to be addressed to ensure that we can successfully issue a sukuk. Now, based on our findings, the features of Wakaf-linked sukuk are proposed to be as follows. First, applicable regulations. We leverage on existing regulations to enhance the possibility of successfully facilitating a Wakaf-linked sukuk issuance, namely the Government Funding Act 1983, the LOLA guidelines, and the Retail Sukuk guidelines. Potential issuer, obligor. First, the Government of Malaysia, either directly or via an SPV. Next, a federal entity, for example, Yayasan Wakaf Malaysia, either directly or via an SPV backed by a federal government guarantee. Now, we believe that the Government of Malaysia or a federal entity like Yayasan Wakaf Malaysia backed by a GG would be the most suited to be the issuer of a Wakaf linked sukuk. The utilization of proceeds must be for Sharia compliant purposes only. The Sharia principles, any Sharia principle prescribed in the DOLA guidelines. Next, SRI sukuk requirements. Now it can be seen that Wakaf related projects may easily fall within the ambit of the SC's Sustainable and Responsible Investment or SRI sukuk. So the sukuk shall be encouraged to be in the form of an SRI sukuk as per the SRI sukuk requirements. The SRI sukuk requirements prescribe the process for project evaluation and selection, management of proceeds, reporting and disclosure requirements applicable to an SRI sukuk, practices which will enhance the integrity and governance of a Wakaf linked sukuk. This will also help elevate the profile and trust in the Wakaf institution in Malaysia. Next slide, please. Wakaf linked features. It is our proposal to apply the Wakaf feature to the sukuk principal amount and periodic distribution amounts of the Wakaf linked sukuk and the option of the investor. This will enable the Wakaf institution to grow in two ways: in developing of Wakaf land and in increasing the amount of Wakaf funds. The concept has been allowed by the SC for Islamic wholesale funds. Returns. To ensure the sustainability of the Wakaf linked sukuk concept, the returns should be market driven while avoiding subsidized returns and any other feature that will make it a market anomaly. Default. In relation to default, the Wakaf linked sukuk being a fixed income instrument offered under existing laws and regulations in Malaysia would have default provisions like other sukuk issued under similar laws and regulations. The sukuk holders should elect upfront if they intend to opt for the Wakaf features to avoid potential Sharia issues in the event of default. Rating. As far as the local debt capital market is concerned, the issuer of the sukuk would need to be rated AAA or AA. Tradability. To ensure liquidity of the Wakaf linked sukuk, it would be ideal for the sukuk to be tradable. To facilitate this, the investors will be required to elect upfront if they would like to partake in the Wakaf features mentioned earlier. Any Wakaf linked sukuk where the election has been made to opt for the Wakaf feature will not be tradable. This way, potential complications in relation to tradability involving Wakaf monies are avoided. Tax incentives. As Wakaf linked sukuk would be a novel offering and to encourage members of the general public to invest in the offering, tax incentives would be helpful to spur this new initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe the combination of features over these two slides will achieve the best outcomes, raising the required amount for Wakaf projects and developing the potential of sukuk as an Islamic social finance instrument. The good performance of an inaugural Wakaf linked sukuk issuance will increase the investors and public's trust in the framework and garner confidence that will enhance the ability to raise funding for more Wakaf projects. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have been listening intently to my presentation, there would be many questions in your mind. Some of them would be, why does it sound so simple? Why is it called Wakaf linked? Why would such a sukuk give market returns? Why does it need to be rated? Why should the government be involved? Why would retail investors be interested in this? What if it fails? These are all valid questions. Maybe if the organizers invite me back next year, I'll be able to share the answers. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end, I would like to share a short story. After I crafted this concept as part of my PhD thesis, I reached out to my CEO, DJ Shariman, who is sitting here today. I asked for his permission to bring this concept further. Soon enough, we got the blessings of the CIMB Islamic Board and the CIMB Islamic Sharia Committee. We then decided to reach out to various other stakeholders in the ecosystem, seeking permission to present the concept and seeking feedback to make it better. Every single stakeholder that we reached out to received us with open arms. A number of these stakeholders spoke today before me. And one of those stakeholders is YB Senator Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs, who was here earlier this afternoon. So ladies and gentlemen, why am I sharing this with you? I believe that there is no other place in the world than Malaysia where there is so much support for the development of ideas related to Islamic finance. Be it the academia, the Sharia fraternity, the banking sector, the regulators, the religious authorities, the government, and even our competitors. If you have an idea worth pursuing, you will be able to find a fellowship from amongst these stakeholders to bring it forward, to make it better, and perhaps make it a reality. Today, we have heard so many ideas about the potential of Islamic social finance. My dua for all of you working on these various initiatives is that you will be able to find your fellowship to bring your ideas to fruition, inshallah. Next slide, please. Now, in May 2024, the MISC Leadership Council launched its position paper. In the position paper, there are 10 key focus areas and 18 impact projects. In the fourth key focus area, strengthening Wakaf, MISC selected Wakaf in Sukuk as an impact project. Doakan agar Wakaf in Sukuk akan berjaya diterbitkan dalam masa terdekat. Dengan sokongan anda semua, insyaAllah. To all those who have supported the Wakaf Link Sukuk initiative, our fellowship, biar setitis, biar sebutir, biar setitik, biar sedetik, biar pipis, biar gugur, biar luhur, budi kalian tetap dihargai. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih. See you tonight.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I request the Zayas to remain on stage. As our gratitude and appreciation to our speaker of the plenary session, I would like now to invite Professor Dr. Ramzi Rosman, Dean of IBF, to present token of appreciation to Dr. Muhammad Yasman Ismail, Director of Islamic Wholesale Banking at IMB Islamic Bank Berhad. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Prof. Dr. Ramzi. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we draw to this summit to a close, we invite Dr. Shara Shahira Muhammad Yusuf, Director of iSFIS 2035, the Dean of IBF, to deliver the closing remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, we have reached towards the end of iSFIS 2025. My heartfelt thanks to all speakers, sponsors, panelists, and participants for your meaningful contribution today. Your insights have strengthened our commitment to ensuring Islamic social finance remains impactful, ethical, and aligned with the Maqasid al-Sharia. Alhamdulillah. Now, the conversation we had today are the only beginning. What we need to do is actually to move what we have talking today into action. So let us transform these ideas and sharing of into initiative, frameworks into impact, and discussion into real solutions to the demand. This year is especially meaningful to me and to all IBF as we celebrate IBF 20th anniversary. 2 decades of excellence was not easy and is a promise of scholarship, legacy, and inspire us to move forward with renewed purpose. So I would like to welcome all of the sponsors, speakers, and panelists to join us together in hand to ensure that our Islamic finance will move forward together, inshallah. So your presence today continues the legacy and inspires us to move with a renewed purpose. Now, a very special thank you to all our sponsors. Your support has made this event invaluable, and honestly, with all of you guys today, this whole thing will not be jalan. Alhamdulillah. So a big round of applause to all of you today. Lastly, to my trusted organizing team, my dean, my respective colleagues, thank you guys for your hard work and dedication and trust in me. And to all of our industry friends and colleagues, thank you for your support and engagement throughout Islamic. May Allah bless our efforts and guide us towards greater impact. And I see you guys inshallah in iSFIS 2027. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Shah and team, for bringing today's proceedings to a thoughtful close. As we wrap up, a huge thank you to all of our participants. A special note of our highest appreciation to our sponsors, donors, our plenary speakers, panelists, and our moderators. Your roles were invaluable. For any flaws in my hosting, I ask for your kind forgiveness. I really hope we meet again. Safe travels, and may we meet again in future endeavors. I end with billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Can we have a group photo session? A very short and nice group photo session. Our cameraman will be on stage one. On stage. Can we duduk tempat masing-masing pun kan? Ikut arahan ini. Okay. Please stand up.